So this is the opening for chapter 9 where we graph parabolas and stuff. And right here on this class opener, we just have some basic questions of your prior knowledge that you should already know how to answer, right? So if we take a look at question 1, it says state the A, B, and C values of these. So you have a quadratic trinomial, a quadratic binomial, and you need to know what the A value is, what the B value is, and what the C value is. If you're confused about that, in other words, you need to know what a standard form quadratic trinomial is. A standard form quadratic trinomial is a x squared plus bx plus c. And a, b, and c are just numbers, and the a is the number in front of x squared, the b is the number in front of x, and the c is the constant value, the number all by itself without a variable. Everybody should know that already, right? Yeah. I mean, we did factoring, and when we were doing factoring, step 1 was to multiply a times c. We should know a, b, and c already, okay? So on number 1, all we're doing is identifying a, b, and c. So what's my a value on the first one? A value is 3, right? The a value is 3. What's my b value? My b value is negative 5. And what's my c value on the first one? Positive 1. So we need to be able to identify these things. If I ask you what's the a, b, and c, and you're like, I don't know, that's not good. We need to know that when we look at a expression like that, that's in standard form, you need to be able to identify a, b, and c. Okay, again, a is always in front of x squared. B, negative 5, is the number in front of x. And c is the number all by itself without any variables. So if I ask you to identify the a, b, and c of this red one right here, what's the a value? 1. The a value is 1 because there's an invisible 1 in front of the x squared. What's the b value? 0. Why 0? Because b is the number in front of x, and obviously there is no regular x. There's an x squared, but that's an ax squared. There is no regular x, so there's a 0 because there is no x's. And how about the c value? 7. C value is negative 7. Perfect. So that's your a, b, and c for that quadratic binomial, the red one. And let's go for the last one. What's the a value for the last one? A value is 5. B value is the invisible 1 in front of x, and the c value is 0. The number that's being added or subtracted at the very end without a variable, there is no number added or subtracted at the very end. So you can put a plus 0 if you want. So that's your a, b, and c value for the last one. A is 5, b is 1, c is 0. All right, great. Let's move on to number 2. And again, this is going way back when I asked you to evaluate variable expressions. Now, what does evaluate mean? To simply plug it in. Plug in your numbers that they give you and do the math. So we have this red fraction. It says negative b over 2 times a. So the very first thing, if you remember way back in semester 1 of algebra when we would evaluate things, we plug in values with parentheses. That's the best way to do it. So what I want to do is I want to rewrite that fraction as negative b, negative parentheses, over 2 times a over 2 times parentheses. And then I'm going to plug in my b value, which is negative 16. I'm going to plug that right in there, negative 16. And my a value 2, I'm going to plug that 2 right into the a, which is right there on the bottom parentheses. This is the correct way of doing the math when you evaluate. So plug it in with parentheses. Now do the math. Negative, negative, change to a positive. So you're going to have 16 divided by 2 times 2 is 4. So 16 divided by 4 is the final answer, 4. That's your answer for number 2. Number 3, find the outputs for the given inputs. This is taking us way back when we would do input and output tables, XY tables, back when we would graph lines, back when we would take a function machine and plug in some numbers as the inputs and pull out some answers as the outputs. You guys remember that stuff? So it's the same thing here, but instead of y equals mx plus b, we have y equals, and we have a standard form quadratic trinomial, right? But it's still a function, it's still a machine, and we're still going to plug in inputs and find outputs. Now they're saying find the outputs for the given inputs 2, 3, and 4. That means we need to do actually 3 math problems. We're going to take that 2, and it says it's an input, so we're going to take that 2 and we're going to put it in. Where are we going to put in the 2? Into the input values, the x's. Remember, back when we graphed functions, the input values are your x values, also known as your domain values. You put those in. The answers you get out, the outputs, are the range values. They're your y values. So let me move this up to get more space. If 2 is my input, I need to take that 2 and put it in place of the x's. So let me rewrite everything. Y equals x squared minus 2 times x minus 8. Notice that I put parentheses instead of x's. And now I'm going to take the 2 and plug in that 2 right in there and right in there. So I have a 2 there and a 2 there. Now let's do the math. And again, this is back from semester 1, PEMDAS. There are parentheses, but there's nothing to do in the parentheses. There's just a number 2. We move on to E exponents. Do we have exponents? Yeah, it's right here. 2 squared is 4. So 4, and then after exponents, do we have multiplication or division? Yes, we have multiplication. So let's do that multiplication. 2 times 2 is 4. Don't forget to bring down this minus sign and bring down the minus 8. So what we really have is y equals 4 take away 4 take away 8, which means that the answer is negative 8. Now that is the output for the input 2. Okay? In other words, if I were graphing, I would have a coordinate. The input 2, the x value 2, gave me the output, the y value negative 8. Does that make sense? Okay? But they want all the outputs for the given inputs. So far, we just found one of them. We plugged in 2, and we got out negative 8. We still need to plug in 3 and plug in 4. So let me just write some notes here to myself. I plugged in 2 right here. And let me plug in 3 and 4. So let me rewrite it. Y equals parenthesis squared minus 2 times parenthesis minus 8. And on this next one, I'm going to plug in 3. So I'm plugging in 3 right there, right there. I'm going to do some math. Exponents first. 3 squared is 9. Multiplication next. 2 times 3 is 6. Bring down the minus sign. 9 minus 6. Bring down the minus 8. 9 minus 6 is what? 9 minus 6 is what? 3. And what's 3 minus 8? Let me write that. 3 minus 8. Negative 5. So we found our second output for the given input 3. So if I wanted to write it as a coordinate, I would write it, my input was 3, my output's negative 5. Now we don't have to, they didn't even ask us to write it as a coordinate, but a coordinate's good notation so you could clearly see the input and the output, the x value and the y value. Now let's move on to the last one that we need to do. We need to plug in 4, and I'm running out of space here. So let me plug in 4, okay? So let me rewrite my equation again. Y equals x squared minus 2 times x minus 8. So we're plugging in a 4 right there and right there. And again, we're going to do exponents first. 4 squared is 16. 2 times 4 is 8. Bring down the minus sign. Bring down the minus 8 also. So I really have 16 take away 8. What's 16 take away 8? 8. And what's 8 take away 8? 0. So our output here is 0. And if I wanted to, I could write it as a coordinate. My input was 4 and my output was 0. Now, that's all nice that we're able to write it in terms of coordinates, x and y values. But the notation that we should be using is back up here. It's back up here. Since they gave us the input in this bracket notation 2, 3, 4, we should write our answer as this. The outputs are with those same bracket notations, and we need to put the numbers in corresponding order. So when we plugged in a 2, we got out a negative 8. So that's the first one we need to plug in there, a negative 8, comma. And then we plugged in a 3, and we got out a negative 5. So that's the next number we plug in there, a negative 5. And the last one, the 4, we plugged in a 4 at the very end and we got out a 0. So this is the way to write this particular answer. The outputs are -8, -5, and 0 based on the inputs 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that was a pretty long class opener. On this class opener, what we did was cover the essential skills to be able to move on to today's section. So I want to stop this video right here. It's going to be the class opener video, and we're going to move on to notes. And we need all these skills that we did on this class opener to do what we need to do today on the next video.